How do you set your goals and what is achievable to you? These are really important questions and questions I get all the time. I'm going to give you an extreme example that was in the comments, and I'm going to tell you not just what is, I think, achievable for this gentleman, but I'm also going to tell you exactly how I would attack it so that you can know where you are at the moment, depending on where you are in your running journey, and what is possible for you. Now, here's the question that I got in the comments below. Is it realistic to aim for a sub-3 hour marathon 4 years down the line when I can only run 32 minutes for 5K now, age 42? And I immediately responded to that and said, it depends on your background, but I'd say 100% yes. And then I asked him, well, actually, I'd like to answer your question in full. How long have you been running and what does your weekly running look like? And he answered and gave me this answer. Thank you for taking time. I have been running on and off for the past 4 years. The average is around 112 kilometers per month. After watching your videos, I decided to structure the runs. I've been running pretty consistently for the past 3 months, averaging 35 kilometers per week and increasing by 2 to 4 kilometers week by week. Great. On Wednesday, 4 sets of 4 minutes, 5:15 per kilometer with 4 minutes walk rest. Friday, 6 sets of 5 minutes tempo, 6 minutes per kilometer with 1 minute walking rest. Sunday, 2 hour long run with water breaks. I run 40 minutes easy on the other days or rest when I need a break. You have taught me to break my mental barrier, which I'm going to try to run faster for a week and then see how my body adapts to the new pace. Thanks for the inspiration. Now, what you're going to get there is an immediate kind of, the guy's running 32 minutes and he wants to run sub 3 hours. What's the equivalent time for sub 3 hours or 3 hours for the 5K? 18 minutes 20. So it's literally about 45% improvement. How is that possible? And the initial reaction will be similar to this comment. Never say never, but I don't think it's possible for you. First, you need a sub 20 minute 5K, and that's a big jump from 32 minutes. But keep on going and enjoy the process. And he responded immediately, absolutely, let's enjoy the runs and be happy with whatever improvement there is. Honestly, 5K in 20 minutes is unimaginable for me at the moment. I would love to come back to this post 6 months later and prove Lee right. Now, attitude is everything, and your belief system is really, really powerful as to what you can achieve and what you think is possible. It kind of alluded to that in a comment. And that reaction, although there's a nice positive part at the end, keep going, enjoy the runs, that's pretty typical as well. And I saw recently on a UK running group, a famous UK running group, somebody, 40-year-old who said, is it possible to become a professional runner? And immediately the answers were just stacked on top of the other. It's not possible, you're too old, it depends what your distance you're going, but I doubt it because you would have already kind of been picked up. And it was just no after no after, and it's very, very kind of typical thinking of people that have not tapped into something and really ran with what is actually possible. Now, what do we know? We know 4 things about Andrew, and these are the 4 things we know. He's been running on and off for 4 years. What does he mean by that? What's on, what's off? I hear that a lot. He was averaging 112 kilometers per month. Now he's doing 35 kilometers consistently per week. That's 140 kilometers per month. And he's starting to add structure. He's doing a faster session on Wednesday, a faster session on Friday, and then he's also doing a long run on a Sunday. For me, that's already too much, but we'll come on to that in a second. The big part is that his mental belief or that mental barrier has been broken down, and so he's ready to attack something. This is exactly what I would do if I was Andrew. Now, I'm at 32 minutes for 5K, and I want to, 4 years down the line, it's a long time. What's that in days? 1,400, 360 times 4, 1,450 days, 1,440 days, something like that. 4 years in order to reach 3 hours. And currently, he's doing 6 minutes and 15 seconds per kilometer for 5K, 32 minutes for 5K. And he wants to be doing consistently 4 minutes 15 per kilometer to run a sub 3 hour marathon. That's a great goal because it's big enough, it's lofty enough, it keeps us excited, but we've got to have some spots along the way where we're like, right, okay, what is the first goal here? I would be thinking like this. This is exactly how I thought when I got into running, and I was absolutely rubbish. I couldn't hold pace, I couldn't run an interval, I couldn't go for a long run, I had to keep stopping, watering, sports drink, I didn't know anything about nutrition. You're a completely different athlete to the athlete that he will be in a month. The athlete that he will be in 3 months, in 6 months, he's unrecognizable. In a year, it's a different person altogether. So we're trying to build and find this other animal within inside of us. What we need to do is to get him to a point where he's not doing 4-minute intervals or 5-minute intervals, but he's doing a lot of stuff at 30-second intervals, 45-second intervals, 60-second intervals. So we're teaching him to move faster over the ground. And what that's going to do is a few things. It's going to peel back another mental barrier of what is actually possible for the 5K. It's going to make him get used to running way faster than his current 5K time, and essentially improving his biomechanics, improving him as a runner, making him more efficient at moving over the ground, and just making him understand that running is a skill, and running fast is definitely a skill. So if he, for the last 4 years, has gone out there 4 or 5 times a week, sometimes he does 7 kilometers, sometimes he runs for 2 hours, but he's essentially an endurance monster running a slow pace, and so he will have some strength in his lower legs. A lot of the work at those paces will be done by the calves. He wants to then engage the glutes. What happens then when he releases that strength from the hamstrings and the glutes? What does that look like? What about if we insert some strength as well? And he starts to put strength in and see what that does to his pace. These are big, big factors to look into. But essentially, we want to get him fast at going over short distances as quick as he can, so that then he's understanding, okay, how do I pace 10 times 30 seconds? How do I then progress that to 20 times 30 seconds, and then 10 times a minute? How do I get to a point where I can pace 4 minutes and 30 seconds per kilometer, and I can pretty much hold that pace and pace it really well for 10 times 1 minute? That then breaks down another mental barrier as, okay, well, now I'm at kind of 45 minutes for 10K, or I'm at 22 and a half minutes for 5K. Let's work on the 5K time. So let's work with a small amount of volume, 2 to 3 kilometers, and break that up. Once we've got that initial speed work and we're getting used to doing speed, we're getting used to seeing our heart rate raise and then our heart rate come back down, bring our breathing under control in that 60 seconds in between. Then we're inserting that into slightly longer intervals, and we're building a 5K runner. And initially, we've got to be looking at 25 minutes for 5K. And that's got to be that first point where I'm trying to, instead of going from 32 minutes for 5K to 3 hours, sub 3 hours for a marathon, 5K to 42K, we're going from 5K in 32 minutes to 5K in 30 minutes, to 5K in 27 and a half minutes, to 5K in 25 minutes. That should be, based on everything he said, that should be quite a quick journey. Quick being, we can do that in 3 to 6 months, pretty sure with this character. And what that looks like then is if he's taken 25%, 8 minutes would be 25% off 32 minutes. So if he'd taken 23, 24%, whatever it is, to get to sub 25 minutes, mentally he's thinking, because he's asking the questions already, and he's not even started really, he's very, very early in his journey. Mentally, he's then thinking, well, if I've gone from 32 minutes to 25 minutes, and I can do another 20% off and go on the 20 minutes, surely that's possible if I've already come 25% from 32 minutes. That's the thinking that makes you kind of open mental doors, or open doors, break down mental barriers, so that you can think, actually, this is possible. And maybe everybody else around me is not at the level that I want to be, but I'm ambitious. And if I'm going to do something, I'm going to get online, I'm going to look at YouTube videos, I'm going to get online, I'm going to get myself a plan, I'm going to get myself a coach, and I'm really going to go at this, because we only live once. You may as well really go at it. If you're going to do something, do it properly, because that's the character you take and put into every aspect of your life. Into work, into your family life, into your relationships with your children, into business. In everything you do, that's who you are. You're somebody who not only gets it done, but they get it done to the very, very best of their ability. It's so incredibly powerful that the regular person is thinking, oh, 32 minutes for 5K and you want to get to 3 hours. I don't think that's possible. Whereas what you should be thinking is, wait a second. If I can go 25% faster from running on and off for 4 years to all of a sudden structure, all of a sudden intervals, all of a sudden speed, all of a sudden tapping into that raw speed and inserting that into the rest of my running. And then guess what? I'm going to bring my long run back. I'm just going to run 90 minutes, but in that, there's going to be some specific areas where I'm running at goal 5K pace. Eventually, when we get into a point where it's comfortable for him to move over the ground much faster. Then all of a sudden, we've got 2 sessions per week where he's gaining lots of super compensation. He looks like a different athlete in 3 months. These are big, big mental barriers. And when you've got to, when I started running, restarted running in 2010 after not running as a kid, everyone thought I was nuts. I said, as soon as I came back from my first run, I'd been cycle touring in Asia, I went out for a run, I just said, I'm going out for an hour run. I came back after about 5 minutes, and I couldn't run for 400 meters. So that cycling fitness hadn't translated, but I had a bee in my bonnet, and I knew it could work, I'd seen it work before, and I wanted to make this a profession. I wanted to turn this into a profession. Immediately, I had that in me. Because of everything that I'd been doing on a bike, and because the romanticism of getting up in the morning at the crack of dawn before the sun comes up, and cycling as far as you possibly can to the next village that happens to have a hostel or a hotel, and then sleeping there and absolutely having the best sleep of your life because you're so exhausted, that's exactly what I wanted to do, but with running. So having that motivation and drive, but you're 27, 28 years old, all of a sudden, everybody thinks you're crazy because you have a good career, you have good money. Why would you walk away from that in order to try to be something completely different? But then proving them wrong is brilliant because that's shocking people. It's just like, yeah, I hear what you say. I can hear the negativity. I can hear the realistic people. But then proving them wrong is gold. And that's where we should be aiming at. We should be aiming high enough that we shock ourselves. And the goal is exciting enough to keep us getting out of bed. And here's the good part. If he fails, and in 3 years, not 4 years, but 3 years, he can run 3 hours and 30 minutes for the marathon, has he failed? Or has he gone from 32 minutes for 5K to 3 hours and 30 minutes? But he's failed in what he was aiming for because he was aiming so high. But he succeeded, right? That's how we should be thinking. And so this negativity and this kind of leave it out of other people's lives. If you want to go for it, son, go for it.